What do accountants actually do? I have no fucking idea. Why don't they just put all the numbers into ChatGPT and say, figure it out? By the way, can I say, wouldn't the world be a little bit better if we were allowed to lie about our business's health? Like, doesn't it kind of fuck it up when you have to like accurately report profit and loss? Because then what if you're losing money? Then it's like, oh, my business is going to die. Wouldn't it be easier if I could just say, no, everything's great? Think about that. If we all just said everything's going well, then isn't it kind of self-fulfilling? Something to think about.
If I know anything, it's that accountants are boring, irrelevant losers. I've never met one.
Any accountants in chat? By the way, if you ever read like R Accounting on Reddit, they talk about this like about themselves. Accountants are the most self-hating group. That group, that subreddit is always like, I fucking hate being an accountant. Like trying to find something else, fucking hate this job. It's so self-loathing. I think accounting is cool. It's certainly important, certainly valuable.
Enjoyed talking to, and now that I think about it, I've never talked to one, period. However, I do keep abreast of business news, and lately I've noticed an increasing number of reports that the accounting industry is in crisis because nobody wants to be an accountant anymore, which doesn't seem like a crisis to me. I don't give a shit about accountants. But it did get me wondering, is there more to these losers than meets the eye? Let's find out.
Okay.
Accounting is defined by Investopedia as the process of recording financial transactions pertaining to a business. Now, apparently accountants work in all sorts of organizations across the public and private sectors, doing scintillating stuff like auditing, filing taxes, bookkeeping, forensic analysis, payroll services, expense tracking.
It is rather boring.
Corporate oversight, good God. The most highfalutin young folks gun for jobs at the so-called Big Four firms.
Let me tell you something. If you want an easy accounting job where nobody will check your work and the consequences will be dire only for a big streamer, go work at Off-Brand. Let me tell you, if you would like a very, very easy accounting job, I got a place for you.
Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, and KPMG. Lately, though, it seems like accounting's reputation is more or less at the bottom of the toilet.
Don't go into accounting.
Don't become a CPA.
If you're gonna get a degree in accounting, don't.
I quit Big Four accounting after only working there for 10 months.
I'm burned out. I'm working too hard.
A shit ton of journal entries.
So if you get an accounting degree, are you going to inevitably turn into a loser? That's a pretty fair question.
In the last 15 years, the number of students graduating...
Wait. Just getting the degree should not make you a loser. That's crazy. I hope this isn't just shitting on accountants, because I sincerely think business, they act like they don't want it or care about it, but only because it's incredibly important.
Quit Big Four accounting after only working there for 10 months.
I'm burned out. I'm working too hard.
A shit ton of journal entries.
So if you get an accounting degree, are you going to inevitably turn into a loser? That's a pretty fair question.
In the last 15 years, the number of students graduating with an accounting degree has been in a steady downward trend. Meanwhile, the number of grads who then sit for the CPA exam has also declined. By the way, CPA stands for Certified Poo-Tang Agent.
Poontang.
Just kidding, it stands for Certified Public Accountant, and it's the degree you get when you pass the exam to become a licensed accountant.
Business would be pretty much a farce without the accountants and the auditors who are keeping the records straight and making sure that what you see as financial reports is accurate, complete, relevant, and reliable.
Stephen Kochelmeyer is the department chair of what's widely considered to be the best accounting school in the country, UT Austin. Hook 'em!
Accountants, which are viewed to be dinosaurs in a bricks and mortar era, were not that highly respected. And then came about 40 or 50 scandals and frauds, Enron, WorldCom, we could go on and on and on. And all of a sudden people realize, hey, you know, there might be a reason why we need these accountants.
Do you guys think that big accountants framed Enron because they realized accountants were all losers and not necessary? So all the fucking accountants teamed up to try and make it seem like it was fraud? I agree. I don't know if I said it or you said it, but I agree. I think you guys are on the right track.
Guys.
So it seems like accounting provides a reassuring level of stability, not just for the economy at large, but also as a career that doesn't go bye-bye every time there's a recession. You know, it's tragic. It seems as though a lot of people have truly forgotten how vital these fiscal first responders really are. Fortunately, my appreciation for accounting has never wavered. Not once.
Yeah, the shortage is real. The pipeline challenge is real.
It seems to be industry-wide. The large companies are struggling, the smaller ones are struggling, the public sector is struggling.
Interesting you say that, Courtney, because while the wife and I were checking the Bureau of Labor statistics over a snifter of cognac last night, we did notice that there are 200,000 fewer accountants working today than there were 5 years ago. The impact of which can be seen in companies' financial statements.
Companies have been filing their financial statements late because they don't have enough accounting staff. There's also been an increase in misstatements in recent years, and there's also been a rise in audit deficiencies.
And fraud! Just look at fucking Carvana! You think they have real accountants on that staff? Carvana's not the only one, dude. There's some widespread corporate financial fraud in this era. And when the tide goes out, they're all swimming naked, bro. Flirt, I'll go in with them. You're going to swim with a naked corporate entity. It's not as sexy as it sounds. They're just a collection of rules and laws around doing business.
There are reasons for that besides the accounting shortage, but it's certainly a contributing factor.
One cause of the shortage is the fact that many accountants are goddamn old people. According to the American Institute of CPAs, about half of their members are over the age of 50. And for any 20-year-olds out there, being 50 years old is like being 10,000 years old. Another cause is that in comparison to other types of professions that business major types can line up after graduation, accounting doesn't pay that well. Most starting pay rates for CPAs tend to be somewhere between 40 and 80 G's, depending on where you work, which isn't as much as the pledge master who likes paddling you too much now makes a Goldman.
If a business undergraduate student at a good business school like Texas can get something knocking on the door, if not exceeding a six-figure salary straight out of the gate, in finance or high tech, it's hard to say, well, why don't you take this $70,000 offer in accounting instead? And by the way, you're going to have to take this badass exam called the CPA exam to become certified.
Indeed, accountant school ain't nothing to fuck with. Students not only have to complete 5 years of school to get 150 credit hours, as opposed to 4 years for most.
I did not know this. You have to do 5 years of college to become an accountant? You have to pay for a whole nother year? More student loans?
Degrees, but they also have to complete the rigorous certified Poo-Tang agent exam. And once you've done that, well, you'll be looking down the barrel of a pretty intense workload, especially during something called busy season when everyone's looking to complete their audits, tax filings, compliance deadlines, and all that jazz.
There has definitely been some noise in the system around the accounting profession and working way too much. There's too many hours. I'm overworked. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm on the wheel. I got to get out of the rat race. All of those things.
Now, there are calls from across the industry to make it a little easier to get your accounting license. These include reducing the number of credit hours down to 4 years of schooling while emphasizing work experience, something that this state called Ohio has already done. Others believe that the shortage provides a wake-up call for big business to cough up the
just raise the salaries,
and raise
right?
accounting salaries.
Our friends in the business community, if they want more of us accounting guys and they want more people to say, hey, that major is for me, they need to up the ante a little bit.
We need to up the ante. We need to sex it up a bit.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
But none of these new proposals address perhaps the most impactful element that's pushing kids away from accounting, which I've been subtly hinting at. We all think it's lame as hell.
Historically, accountants haven't been marketers.
We don't do a great job of marketing ourselves.
It's not.
What can I say? What can I say, dude? It ain't called Accounting Tuesday. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. Little bit snoozer. What can I say, bro? There's a little bit of a difference for marketing.
Coolest thing.
The image of accountants tend to be, sitting behind their spreadsheets.
A green visor on and smoking a cigarette with a desk with a lamp.
Not being so much extroverted or having good communication skills, etc.
There aren't movies where Leonardo DiCaprio is a cool.
There is a movie with an accountant. Isn't the accountant with Ben Affleck, and he plays a really, really, really autistic guy who doesn't smile and kills people? They talk about it? Yeah, okay. All right. Pre-watch.
Cool accountant.
Very few movies that talk about accountants and what they do.
I hear accountant and I think of Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters, the nerdy little guy with the squeaky voice.
You might be auditing, one thing or another, but is that necessarily sexy? Is any of this really sexy?
Amongst the swath of accountants that the Good Work investigative news team spoke to for this report, 100% of them cited accounting's reputation as the primary reason why their industry is bleeding recruits. And it's clear that for society to revive the accounting profession, what's needed is a complete makeover of the...
Okay, but I don't know. Doesn't that seem kind of silly? You know what I'm saying? You know what's really sexy is having a fucking stable, great job that you enjoy with your family. I mean, if the pay was better, I don't think that matters at all. I think the pay is a little low, especially for all the work. But like whether or not the media, you know what I'm saying? They're like plumbers on a sexy job. There's plenty of happy plumbers who will own their own local business, make tons of money. You know what I'm saying? Like there's plenty of jobs that aren't stereotypically sexy that are probably way better and way more stable. In fact, I think the sexiness of a job is probably a predictor that you're going to be underpaid or that it's going to be more difficult because there's a ton of competition. I'll give you an example. One of the most commonly started businesses is restaurant. It's one of the sexiest things to own. Restaurant and nightclub. Both those things are like the very common started business. And they fail like 95% of the time, more than that, maybe 98. And because people have this idea of like this romantic idea of how fun it'll be to own a restaurant or own a nightclub, and it turns out it's a huge pain in the ass. There's a ton of competition. You don't make a lot of money. So I would say like basing your career off what you think is the sexiest is probably the bad idea. And if you have a knack for accounting and being very good at it, you could probably make a great living. I mean, you could probably be super successful if you're a top accountant, but I think the base pay is a problem for sure. I mean, I'll even say, it sounds weird now because NVIDIA has now become well known and the stock is so high, everyone's like, oh, NVIDIA would be cool to work there. But when I took the NVIDIA job, it was not sexy. Everyone in my life, including Ari, including my family, including my friends, told me to go to Blizzard. Blizzard was the sexy job. I had an offer from Blizzard, offer from NVIDIA. NVIDIA was completely unknown. People that I told about it who weren't hardcore gamers had no idea what it was. And I took it because I thought it was not only did it have slightly higher pay, not really much higher, but slightly higher, but like the boss was a serious dude. The boss was like an actual dude I could learn something from. And the other guy was like, yeah, we play games at the office. It's so fun, bro. So I don't know. I think that's a situation where I did take a quote unquote less sexy job. Yuck, fun at the office. There's nothing wrong with fun at the office, but I had just left Twitch where fun at the office turned out to be not everything it was cracked up to be. You know, where the idea of fun at the office and like, whoa, we have snacks in a game room turned out to be kind of like a reason to get you to stay there 24/7 and live and breathe the office culture. And it led to a lot of like internal office drama and, you know, and I was kind of like, whoa, wouldn't it be cool to like work for a really serious company and like learn my shit and be good at it and like, you know, get paid well and be respected. Like that's what I was kind of craving. That's why I took the NVIDIA against. I'm not telling you, I'm not exaggerating. Nobody in my life told me to go to NVIDIA. I asked everybody, Stans, everybody, all my friends, everybody told me to go to Blizzard. They said Blizzard would be better. I'm so glad I didn't do it.
Industry, Princess Diary style. Because in the course of this lengthy investigation, I must admit that my heart for accounting has grown by 10 Grinches. +2.
I've been able to work for organizations that did charitable work that was important for me. I was able to be at a college helping other people get educated, all again because I was in accounting. Accounting ends up being one of those few professions where whatever area you're interested in, there's a place for you if you're an accountant.
If there's a shortage of accountants, the SEC, the IRS...
Dude, why don't you just graduate from business school, accounting degree, get a CPA, but make sure you always graduate and start working right after tax season. Okay, so you start working in fucking June, okay? Then you work all the way up until March, and then you quit. You quit for 3-4 months and start again. Or, I don't know, get sick or something, whatever. Just always dodge accounting. Dodge the actual hard part of the year. Busy starts in goddamn January? All right. Well, I tried. I tried to help you out.
And most external stakeholders will not be able to trust the numbers anymore, which could cause potentially financial ruin for many people.
You know, you want to be paid like a business professional, but do work that benefits society. Be an accountant, because it is as close as I've come to blending a broader benefit.
Dude, you know what we really need is forensic accountants in the government, like in the SEC and stuff. I want to see someone investigate Carvana. There's been no real fucking investigation. No, not Doge. Not 24-year-old Elon Musk stans who've never had sex. I want like a respected senior accountant in the SEC who can go into a company like Carvana and really break down the books, because I don't trust their numbers. I do not trust them. Many people don't, but they just keep publishing them and no one can fucking verify. And it's a requirement they've had sex. They need to have had sex. Bring me pictures. Fuck, I'm out. Yeah.
Society with a business degree.
Now, this isn't to say that there haven't been a few valiant attempts to rehab accounting's image before. From Ben Affleck playing an autistic action hero in The Accountant to the financial edutainment thriller Green Shades by our very own Greg D. Adams, CPA.
Green Shades is a darkly humorous international crime thriller where your protagonist, Dex McCord, is an accountant, or in this case, actually it's an auditor, who sends his friend to India to do a simple audit, and when his friend comes back...
Is this what it's like, accountants? Is this like half of your job is like dodging international assassins and like setting up? Okay, that's pretty cool, actually. You know what show has an accountant as sort of the important lead job was Ozarks. Ozarks kind of make it seem cool with Jason Bateman as like this fucking incredible money launderer / accountant. He's kind of like, but they do make him seem very depressed and sad.
To Australia, his body is found washed up on the northern beaches of Sydney. And when McCord goes to the funeral, he starts to unravel the facts that, hey, this was not a surfing accident like the police said. This was a reason that he was murdered. But be careful. I have to warn you, Green Shades has a little bit of violence in there, some sexual tension, and some accounting equations.
Green Shades, baby.
Now, I am pleased to report we have some good news on the accounting sucks front. This past year's enrollment numbers are promising and might hint at an easing of the shortage. Nonetheless, my sources say we are far from out of the woods, and I do think it may very well be time for more extreme measures.
There is a negative stereotype that's just undeniable about the word accounting. I almost wish sometimes I could just change the name.
Let's fucking do it, Steve. Audit monsters, math Rambos, number nymphs.
No, terrible.
Tax masters.
Terrible.
I mean, come on, this is easy.
Terrible.
There are
bad.
dozens of better options than what you have right now. And while we're at it, instead of Ben Affleck, why don't we cast someone else who'd be more believable as an unsocial dweeb who's unrealistically good at firing guns? Do this, and I promise you'd get more accountants in the door. It's for the good of the industry, but more importantly, the good of the business world. For good work, and for accountants everywhere, I'm Dan Toomey.
That was good. I think it's an important discussion. But I also know, like, based on supply and demand, right? Right as we think accounting is dead as a profession is when it's going to start getting paid more and everyone's going to want to be an accountant. And then by the time they flood it, the supply will be too high and then it'll be dead again. This is how every profession works. There's too many coders right now, and then everyone's going to fucking do something else, and then we're going to have too few new coders, and it's a wave. It's a sine wave.
There's a lot of adventures that go on with our protagonist, including some sticky situations that he gets caught in, and one in particular where he even has to jump off a cliff to escape bullets from. You meet a woman named Kendall Cove. She was an accountant, and then on the side she worked at a surf shop. So then she became a dive instructor and started her own company. But she had that basic financial knowledge as an accountant to expand that business. And of course, meet Dex McCord during his adventures.
On that note, Greg, are we going to see a Green Shades 2 anytime soon?
You may. This first book took me a long time to write, but it seems to be flowing better as I'm thinking of Green Shades 2.
Holy shit, Green Shades 2. I've been waiting for a sequel since I heard about Green Shades 1. Good video. Good fucking video.